What's going on, man of prestige, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the platform. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. You saw that thumbnail, and yeah, this is gonna be, I guess, some sort of part two. It looks like this is a story that keeps giving. I think for the past 1 year or so, right? But anyway, shout out to you for keeping stopping by. Please make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you comment. Make sure, you know, if you have any thoughts, make sure you're sharing it. That's really what matters, okay? I want to appreciate you because I'm going to keep talking about this stuff here. Anything that I feel that I'm learning as a man, I will share with you. Sometimes my tone may not be the nicest, but I guarantee you I mean well. And I just want us to be able to hold ourselves accountable. It just seems like most platforms you go to, men are having a hard time holding themselves accountable. The moment you attempt to do anything of such, you become a panderer or something like that. But I think let's just have the conversation, right? Let's just have the conversation. Today we're talking about Kanye West and this issue right now. And today I'm going to talk about 10 ways to lose your wife to a skit. Okay? So Kanye West decided to come out and celebrate and jubilate today on social media. You know, now I've been on, I think, one panel, and I also talked about this about 2 or 3 days ago when the news first broke that they are no longer together. Kim Kardashian seems like she's done with this young man, Pete Davidson, right? Um, yes, it was predictable. More so because they're celebrities and we see this kind of things all the time, right? Of course, it was predictable, right? But also, there's a lot of things, nuances between this that we can relate with as regular people. And in fact, some of these things are happening to people in regular life. You just don't tend to hear it. Like your friends, your family and friends, people that are close to you, happens to them. But you may never hear about it because they're not celebrities, right? But it does happen, right? There are a lot of men that are losing their wives to the skits, to the Pookies and the Ray Rays. The only thing they tend to do is they now suddenly want to hold women accountable. And they really never get to the real lessons. Like how do you prevent this, right? What exactly are some of the moves you can make, literally, to to attract this kind of nonsense craziness to yourself, right? We're talking about a family with 4 children. They actually married themselves. They actually did. They got married, right? What was it? 2014, something like that. Well, some years back, they got 4 kids together. So there's real life. My point here is that there are real life stories like this out there where people. Let me just make sure that audio is working. Just make sure. Let's just make sure of that. Is that okay? All right. Just make sure that audio is. It is working. That's awesome. I just wanted to make sure real quick. But anyway, so there are 10 things that I can extract from Kanye's behavior. On the last video I think I talked about him a little bit too, right? On the panel I was on with my brother Sahil, we talked about, this guy got dumped. He should have known better. He shouldn't have gotten with a single woman with 4 children who is not yet healed. Who the emotions are raw. You get with a woman like this, it's risky. So we talked about that. But today I want to talk about Kanye West because I actually think that matters more, right? How can you move like a man and lose your family and destroy your family? And yes, destroy a piece of each one of your children. Because we all know that the children are better off being in a family structure, in a house with 2 parent household, right? We all know that, right? So why are we not talking about the part we can control? Why are we talking about the part we can't control? What is the part we can't control? I can't control that a young man is going to be a young man and he's just going to act out, make mistakes, fall flat on his face first before he listens to me. I can't control that. I think most men are not going to listen until they've, experience is the best teacher. You know, I did say I might talk about these two other artists, but I think I should stay on topic, right? There's a Nigerian Afrobeats artist, Kiss Daniels, who basically got arrested in Tanzania today because it's a young man experiencing a lot of success just because allegedly his gold chain did not come. His package did not come, his luggage did not come in the plane. He decided not to perform, even though he had collected $60,000. Right? So, then there's another man, another young man, Iyanya, who's also popular, who said, you know what, he was a fool some few years back because he actually had a fallout with his manager because he now spoke a little bit further into the reality with young artists. They just don't know what they don't know, and you can try to teach them. If experience is still the best teacher. Some people can learn what not to do, but usually when people try to learn what not to do, they end up making a lot of assumptions in their assertions, right? So for example, I was on a panel yesterday where a young man came in. What's wrong with trying to do better? Well, what's wrong with trying to do better is what could be wrong. There's nothing wrong with trying to do better. What could be wrong with trying to do better is to be setting those rules up from a place of a lot of assumptions. The human experience is just too many layers to it. So when you set rules, you have to leave room for that. When you set rules, you have to leave room for the fact that there's going to be tons of layers of assumptions because we're human beings. We have emotions, we have spirituality, we have all these other aspects to us that makes us not regular animals but higher animals. So there tend to be a lot of assumptions like, you could just you mate and you're just like a lion, and then you go there and survive, and then you kind of discount the fact that you're an emotional being, like you're not an animal, you're a higher animal, right? So there are 10 ways. I'm going to go through the number one way right now, and I'm just going to extract these lessons out of basically his actions. Okay. Kanye West posted about the pairs, that means the couple's custody fight, including an accusation that Kardashian withheld the location of their child's birthday party. Now, the fact that he had to scramble around to get to the location of his birthday, of his own daughter's birthday party, of course that's bad. But again, we really should stop pretending like things got bad suddenly. There are other things going on behind the scenes. There's a story that led to one story that led to the other before you got to a place where your wife is hiding such information from you, right? So now this action here is overreaction, essentially. He overreacted. He was looking, because eventually he actually found the birthday party. Somebody else sent a text or something like that. He was able to find it. But he overreacted. What I mean by overreacted, came out to I don't know, 20 million people on social media to tell them what was going on in his personal life, right? So if you want to lose your wife to a skit, overreact. Yes, even when you're right, just overreact, and let's see which one prevails. Is it the overreacting or the fact that you're right? I guarantee you 100% of the time, maybe 99.98% of the time, I guarantee you that your overreaction will create more impact, and that's usually negative impact, than the fact that you're right. Okay? Are you right that she shouldn't withhold such information? You're right. Are you wrong for shouting out to the public that, hey, listen, I can't find my daughter's birthday party? No, you're not necessarily wrong, but you're definitely going to create a negative impact. See, that's the thing. People get stuck on right and wrong, and they completely ignore if your actions is creating a positive or negative impact for you and your loved ones. So if you want to lose your wife to a skit, completely disregard the impact you're leaving with your actions and just focus straight on the fact that you're doing the right thing. It's a very quick way to lose your wife to skit. Way number 2, right? I should be counting this down actually, but let's just go with this role right here. He made a song about how he wants to beat up Kardashian's new boyfriend. Okay, right? We talked a little bit about this earlier. You want to lose your wife to a skit? Um, this is a way to do it. It's still a form of overreaction, but uh, there's a friend that she started. She's trying to escape. She's trying to run away from your marriage for whatever reason. Bottom line is that your marriage just crumbled down to a place where things are bad. So she's actively trying to escape. She's wrong. You've declared and concluded that she's completely wrong. She should just stay in the marriage and work with you. You're not necessarily wrong, depending on the rest of the story, right? But since you're so right, again, you go out there and you put out a song. See, one of the things that we do is like we run our mouth when we're going through this kind of crisis. We start running our mouth, and some of those things you say you can never take back. And when you say those things, right, I guarantee you're going to be quick to say I'm sorry, but sometimes I'm sorry is just never good enough. That resentment is planted in there for life, right? And if you're like most people, you're probably creating a lasting, permanent damage, right? So, how much, how do I say this? How much more a whole song by a Kanye West that even if you decide to pull it off the market, somebody still has it on their CD, and you're basically creating embarrassment for yourself. Hey, listen, maybe if I say you're creating embarrassment for Kim, you may say things like, "Yeah, but what's wrong with that? She should be shamed. We need more shaming." Well, the problem is that, remember impact? The impact doesn't just stop at the bad person. It affects you yourself, affects your children. And as a king, you're supposed to know that you're not just gonna. When you make move in the chess game, which I don't know anything about, but from what I'm hearing, you just don't make moves based off of right and wrong. You gotta think strategically, right? Because there's multiple layers to this, right? So, don't leave artifacts. Don't leave ammunitions against yourself out there. Don't stop texting messages when you're going through stuff. Stop texting. Don't even text your wife. As a matter of fact, even if you're writing a note inside your own phone about how you feel, remember their feelings. They're temporary in nature, right? If you're not careful, you can end up, writing something and you forgot to delete it. It can end up haunting you later on. Or if you're somebody just as popular as like a Kanye West, it can come back and haunt you because there's always an active interest in hacking into your phone and digging through your stuff. And for every one of us that have anything to lose, there's always an active interest in pulling you down from whatever pedestal you're standing on. And you give people ammunitions when you start texting randomly when you're upset. That's how I would relate this lesson, right? Don't stop texting messages when you're upset. Throw your phone to the corner somewhere. Go take a shower. Drink some water. Because I guarantee you how you feel right now is temporary. I guarantee you. Yes, somebody else is acting out, they're doing something to me, but that's the point. That's the point of self-control, because you kind of have the right to behave the way you're about to behave, but then the universe has the right to respond how it responds in terms of the impact it leaves on you. All right, so let's go to way number 3. He sent a truck of emblazoned. I've never seen that word before. Emblazoned. A truck emblazoned with the phrase, "My vision is crystal clear." It wasn't. With a bed full of flowers, a bed full of roses, to Kardashian's home for Valentine's Day. So this lady had moved on with this young boy, 28 years old, 13 years behind her. 13 years, something like that, right? And basically, you already lost your wife to Skete, right? But then you go over there to... this is another form of overreaction. Let me go crazy. Maybe she will take me back. It's not just Kanye that do that. It's a lot of men that do that. They get into this begging mode and they start saying, I'm sorry. I think I'm sorry does a lot more damages. Apologies does a lot more damage than it does any good. Because it usually comes from a place where you haven't really processed what happened. You're desperate and confidence, they can't really stay in the same space. Confidence is always sexier than everything else, right? She will say no to you. She doesn't even know why she said no to you, but she will say no to you because it just doesn't feel right. You're desperate. She already left you for a young man. She's excited right now, and you're basically overreacting based off of the excitement that you know she's having. She's having all this excitement, and you're actively trying to kill it. Guess what? You're the husband. You have the right to kill it. But guess what? The universe, the beautiful chaotic energy of Mother Nature, has the right to respond how it responds. And it's not always going to be based on the fact that you're right. That's just not how the world works. It's not how it works, especially when you involve emotions and romance and things like that. That's not how it works. There's too many layers to say, hey, because I'm a good guy, good things should happen to me. No, that's not how life works. That's being naive about life and ignorant, right? So let's keep going. The vision was blurry, So if you want to lose your wife to a skit, if you notice or you suspect she's getting with somebody else, just basically start begging them, kneel down on your knees, bended down knees, start singing the Boys II on your bended knees, right, with Boys II Men, right, start singing that song. You're probably going to end up chasing her further away, okay? Because you're acting soft. You have no self-control. You lack self-respect. Somebody just unilaterally said they don't want to deal with you anymore. I understand that you got a family and you should fight, but you should know when to stop. That's usually not too far long from the point where somebody says they don't want to be with you much longer. You can say, hey, let's work on it. A few times. That's more than enough. Because if after 2 or 3 times you say let's work on it and that kind of communication is not working, you need to adopt another method. And I guarantee you it's going to involve backing off a little bit. That doesn't have to be a permanent decision. That's just how she feels in that moment. But you can at least allow God to work on her if she belongs there, if you belong in that marriage. Because sometimes you don't need to be in that marriage. You don't need to be in that relationship, but you can't see because your vision is blurry. Just like Kanye West's vision was blurry with all this roses nonsense. You should only do things like this when the person is absolutely in love with you. Okay? Or at least, at most, maybe let's say you just met this person, you're trying to impress them, which I still don't advise. You should get to know a person first, right? But at least there's no bad blood of any sort. You haven't created bad experiences, which clearly he had created bad experiences in that marriage for themselves, right? Okay, so anyway, let's go on to way number 4. Posted and deleted paparazzi photos of Kardashian and Davidson, again threatening him. So how much time can a Kanye West, who is a billionaire, right? How much time does he exactly have to be this weak emotionally, mentally, to be in this space? We know he was diagnosed with bipolar or something like that, but again, there's a lot of regular men that do this kind of things, right? They want to use their mouth to destroy everything. Like, you know what, since she wants to destroy everything, let me destroy everything. Like, really? How much self-respect do you have for yourself? Do you have anything else that you count on in life? Do you have a mission in life outside of this woman? Because if you don't have a mission outside of the existence of your wife, your woman, that's going to backfire. As a man, you should have a mission that's bigger than you. Never mind your wife. Bigger than you. And such missions you should engage such missions a lot more actively if you find yourself in this kind of crisis. And by the way, it's easier said than done. But again, when I say mission and a purpose, when it comes to life mission and purpose, right, it should be big enough to really engage you, you know. And if you don't have one, you need to identify your purpose in life. And like I said, it should be bigger than you. How much more your wife? Of course, it's bigger than her, right? So if you remember such things in the middle of a marriage crisis, relationship crisis, you will know that you don't do stupid things like this, posting, deleting, paparazzi. For you get lost, you catch lawsuits because your influence can destroy his life. But why would you want to do something so stupid just because of a woman? Again, how much self-love exactly do you have? How much self-respect do you have? Okay, it is a threat to his life. Why? Because you lost your wife to him? Damn. It tells us exactly what you've been doing in that marriage from before. Because again, some of this behavior just they don't come out just like that. You've been doing it at least in micro levels, right? Narcissistic behavior, controlling behavior, trying to control everything, right? You've been doing these things. It's just so happened that it's so big right now. You lost your wife, so you lost your mind. If losing your wife means you lost your mind, you deserve to lose your wife. Wait, if losing your wife means you lost your wife, you probably deserve to lose your wife. Probably, keyword. Because sometimes, like I said, there's too many layers. Sometimes it's just what it is. It's not your fault. Which is the more reason why I would encourage you to forgive yourself as fast as humanly possible. Maybe it's not really about you in the first place. Because you overreacting tells me you really think internally that it's about you, that you're disappointed in yourself, but the way you're showing it is that you're barking at everyone else and pointing fingers and just trying to destroy everything else in your way. Let's go to way number 5. Repeatedly shared screenshots of his private communication with Kardashian. Literally to millions upon millions of people. Some people say, oh, it's just Kanye, that's just how he does. Like, no. We've seen this over and over again. Celebrities are just humans. It's just that they get a lot more exposure. The light is beaming on them a lot more, so we can see a lot more of their dirt. When it gets bad, right? So, repeatedly shared screenshots of his private communication with Kardashians. Yeah. So, you're embarrassing the lady, but, you know, it's safe to say, yeah, but why not? She left the marriage. It's duty and responsibility. She should have just stayed there. Well, first of all, that's Kim Kardashian. That's number 1. Okay. Number 2, no. Nobody owes you. Nobody owes you forgiveness. Nobody owes you marriage. Nobody, I don't care if they were married to you for 25 years. They don't owe you the next day. And I'm saying that as if it's 15 years this month that I've been married. They don't owe you the next month. They don't owe you tomorrow. It could be all over tomorrow. The point I'm making to you that it doesn't have to be your fault. But when you think it's your fault, you start overreacting and then you start destroying everything. And then you try to destroy other people. When you try to destroy other people from being vindictive, I guarantee you're destroying yourself. Okay? You're hurting yourself. You're going to hurt yourself. Because again, you're acting out of anger, overreaction, right? You're going to hurt yourself. It's just the way it works. You know? What's going on, Sahil? Let me know if you want to come up and chop it up with me on this, the rest of the ways I'm sharing here. I'm actually going to drop the link for you real quick, just in case. Yes, sir. Yeah, you see, I'm having my party by myself here. We're just taping anyway. All right, good. Yes, I dropped the link if you want to come up. Yeah, so repeatedly sharing screenshot of his private communication, we know that there's nothing good that can come out of that, right? Whatever you're trying to get out of that, nothing good can come out of it. Let's go to way number 6. Let me get rid of that. Way number 6 talked about the dissolving marriage publicly. Well, the marriage was kind of public, but we know some of the wisest people in the past, including even the Dr. Dre's, they don't talk about this stuff. There's a reason. You're not smarter than people that choose to be quiet when they're going through litigations. The first thing they tell you, right? The first thing they tell you when you get arrested is, anything you say can be used against you. That's it, right? The people that are going through big time litigations, lawsuits, they're advised to be quiet. But because you're a special type of character, I guess a special type of human being, you think you just run your mouth and think that's not going to hurt you in the court of law? So again, you want to lose your wife to a skit, just run your mouth. Just say everything that you did right and everything that how perfect you were. Just start telling everyone. Get on the internet and start telling everyone how good you've been. That's a fast way to lose your wife to the skit. Because again, if she's in that space, she's not thinking. She doesn't care. She's just trying to run. She's trying to run for her life, her dear life. She's not trying to do the right thing. There's nobody that's trying to run for their life, trying to do the right thing. They just want to escape. They need to protect themselves and they need to run to security. Right? So I get it. You get on the internet, you say, hey, I did this, I did that, I did that. That's usually what we hear with this. A lot of men like this. This is what I did. I tried this. I fought for the marriage. I said, let's go work on the marriage. I went and told her family and friends. And basically, guess what happened usually? They ghost all those people, including she will ghost her mother if she has to run away from you for her dear life. We're talking about mental here right now. This is mental. This is not, hey, I'm logical. None of that is happening on all ends, which is why it's chaotic. Right? So if you want to lose your wife to a skit when you're going through marital crisis, just start running your mouth. Right? Just tell us everything. Tell us how everything is. Start holding her accountable. Start holding her accountable. Because again, remember, you're already in the middle of crisis. It's too late. It's already too late. The best thing you can do in this kind of space is to leave things in the hands of God. Not work on yourself. That's what that means. Refocus all that energy back on yourself. People go to solitude. They go pray and fast and things like that. You think you're wiser and smarter? You think you're smarter than them? Maybe you're smarter than them. I guarantee you're not wiser than them. There's just something you can't see. And when you're too young, I get it. You have to fall flat on your face first, and then you're like, yeah. And then 5 years later, yeah, I messed up too. I shouldn't have done that. Well, you did all the right things. You walked a straight line. This happens to good people. These things happen to good people, not just bad people. As a matter of fact, bad people don't care. They don't realize when this happens to them. They're already bad, remember? These things happen to good guys for the most part. And that's why they're resenting the whole idea of life. That's the whole point of red pill. Like, this whole thing is just a lie. Right? Yeah. Way number 7. A claymation caricature of the comedian is seen kidnapped and decapitated in one version and attacked in another. So he did a video. Kanye West did a video. 2 different versions of a video. Basically showing a caricature of him getting kidnapped, of Skete Davidson. Yeah. Pete Davidson getting kidnapped and stuff like that, right? Okay, so your wife had made a choice to go hang out with this little boy. Whatever embarrassment is coming out of that, it's not big enough. It's not as big as the excitement she's getting from, like, let's just be stupid. Bottom line is that she's made that choice, and this boy is hanging around her children, your children. Extreme disrespect. I can imagine how you feel about that. Right? And then, you know what? I'm going to be messy too. Let me go make some videos and drag the nuts out of this little boy. I'm going to show him I'm Kanye. Right? I'm Ye. Nobody disrespects me. Right? So now let's assume that it worked. This guy is a comedian. I doubt if it worked on him. I really think it's not that deep for Pete Davidson. I think it's a little boy. He will learn his own lessons. Yeah, he's got time. He's got at least 20 years behind Kanye, something like that. Almost. Right? To figure this out and say, oh yeah, that was a stupid move. But Kanye, it's too late for you. A fool at 40. It's very hard to change those behaviors if you're behaving like this at 40. You know, this is easier said than done. This is what I'm suggesting is hard, to just be quiet when you're feeling disrespected. But again, remember what I kept saying about your feelings are temporary. They're just how you feel right now. Even how Kim feels is also temporary, which is why you should never overreact. When your wife is acting out of character, you shouldn't overreact, because I guarantee it's all temporary. If you just calm down, the whole event will be a lot short-lived than if you overreact. If you overreact, you help it. You fuel the fire. You're basically pouring gas, petrol into the fire. Because remember, it's all energy. It's all energy, right? So you go do things like this. Yes, let's say he wasn't a comedian. Like, he's not a guy that really could care less about this thing. To a certain level, I think he cares, but to a certain level, right? And it really affects him. But are you forgetting the part that is going to affect your wife? Okay, screw her. It should affect her. Are you forgetting that anything that affects your wife will affect your children? 4 children. Yes, you forgot. Why? Because you got caught up in your feelings too, like the rest of us, right? That's why I'm talking about this. So you can understand that we're all humans. We can get caught up in it, but I guarantee you there's consequences for getting caught up in your feelings in this way. That consequences will go from not just you, go to your next generation at least. Your children are affected. So when the scripture says from first to third to fourth generation, people really don't do the math. It's basically this emotional traumas and, you know, all this kind of stuff. It transfers. You're destroying people, your children of your children, with this little act of innocence when you were just caught up in your emotion. You were just being a man, right? Right? So again, as a Kanye West, you have this big impact that you can create, right? But never mind Kanye West. As a man in this society, you're such a powerful thing that every time you overreact, you may not realize it. Sometimes you're not going to realize it until somebody starts to express the resentment they have against you for years. You have to move with wisdom. You have to move with wisdom. Always with wisdom. How do you do that? Wisdom doesn't come from let me think and act right now. I know 1 + 1 = 2. That's stupid. I'm going to tell you right now. In real life, that 1 + 1 = 2 is the most stupidest thing ever. In real life, lots of patience. Patience. You have to calm down. You don't have to have an answer like right now. So you put too much weight on yourself. You think you got to have an answer right now. You don't have to have an answer right now. Remember, you ain't got the answer, Sway. You ain't got the answer, Sway. See, as men, we come up as we have this answer. We have this, like, we gotta have the answer. We're disappointed in ourselves so quick. No, it's okay to relax. You don't have the answer. Most of the time, you don't have the answers right away. You don't have a holistic answer. You may have the answer of 1 + 1 = 2. 2 × 2 = 4. Right? But there's no other variables in that. But the moment I add x, if I say 1 + 1 x, right? That changes the ball game. That changes everything. Because now we're stuck at 1 + x. What is 1 + what the hell is x? What is x? And that's how life is. That's why we need humility, patience, humility. Humble yourself. Humble yourself. You don't have the answers. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how rich you get. Right? I don't care how good you look, right? Obviously, right? We know that looks and money is not enough. We should know that by now. Right? Yeah, it's not enough. Way number 8. Let's go to way number 8. Oh yeah, way number 7. How do you lose your wife to a skit? I guess embarrass her without knowing you're embarrassing. Just try to embarrass other people. Essentially, you'll be embarrassing yourself, right? Okay. When you're in this kind of space, the best thing to do is go and fast and pray. Work on yourself. Study more. It's extremely difficult to do because naturally you have somebody just literally disrespected you and your family. But that's nonetheless that's the work that's why it's work. It needs to be done. It's going to be worthwhile. Respected time. You're not going to see the rewards. So for those of us that have been married much long, we keep telling you, you can't comprehend what I'm enjoying in a long-term marriage. But it just didn't fall out of the skies. It's work. Just like you go to work and the rewards on Friday, you're like, oh shit, it's after all, it was worth it, right? That's how it works in real life, in everything. It takes work, and that's not a negative thing. That's a good thing, because all the losers will keep looking for shortcuts ideologies and stuff like that, things they can tell themselves to lie to themselves to avoid the work. They will keep doing that. The losers will continue to do that. But that gives you a fair advantage at the end of the day, right? Because in love and war, all is fair, really, right? What do you lose when you do the work? Nothing. Life is just a passage at the end of the day, after all. So it's not that deep. But I'm just saying, in this experience here, don't create terrible experiences for yourself by being vindictive. If you want to lose your wife to a skit, become vindictive. Well, first of all, that's feminine energy, and you will get dragged when you leave your space as a king and you enter that feminine energy. You will get dragged. Okay, it's reality. You will attract all the sign language there is to have, and if it has to be somebody's fault, it's yours. I don't really think it's a matter of fault. It's just how things work. It's just what it is. Just reality, right? Way number 9. Or way number 8, right? Just so everyone knows, Cudi will not. This is a quote from Kanye a few months ago. Just so everyone knows, Kid Cudi, right, will not be on Donda, because that's the album. Because he's friends with you know who. So you stop making enemies for yourself. So people that used to be your friends because it's a small world. I mean, that world of celebrity is a small world. Guess what? Our world is a small world too. Okay. Our world is a small world too. Yeah. All right. So just so everyone knows, Kid Cudi will not be on Donda because he's friends with you know who. You start creating enemies for yourself. You're right. You're right all the while. You're overreacting. Whatever you're doing, whatever you think you're doing, you're overreacting all the while. You know. But let me bring my brother up here. Let's see. EL Selector. Wave your hand real quick. All right. Yes, sir. Thank you. What's going on, man?
What's going on, man? Thanks for having me.
Thanks for coming on, man. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing good, man. I've been a fan of your channel, so I was like, hey, let me just jump onto the.
Oh, I appreciate that, man. I
Yeah,
appreciate that,
most
man.
definitely.
And I could call you EL, right?
L.
L. Okay, L. That's what's
Like
up. What's your
this.
take on this stuff right here, man?
This situation right here. Hey, the woman's track record speak for itself. Hey, that's what he signed up for.
Right? Like we're about to forget that you literally turned a 304 to a wife.
She's been married how many times? Hey, the late great Tupac Shakur. She once was in his video. Says all
Right.
right there.
Yeah. Yeah. We can't. It's the reality. It's just what it is. And at
Yeah,
least that's the result it created, right?
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm sure
most
there's an
definitely.
exception somewhere, but
Listen, Kanye West, I guess that's what he wanted. That's what he likes. Kanye West can have any woman. He can go to South Africa and have 5 wives, and he can make a statement, and guys will go out there and follow him. Kanye West, he has a huge audience, and a lot of people like what he does.
yes.
So that's the woman he chose. And once he chose that woman, we saw a lot of other guys follow. They
Yeah.
went and got the prototype. So Kanye West has a lot of influence in society today.
Do you think Kanye think is smarter than a Jay-Z in his head?
Honestly, I think he does think he's smarter than a Jay-Z, but I also think Kanye West is a man who thinks for himself. So I think he thinks outside the box, where a guy like Jay-Z isn't going to ruffle any feathers. He's going to follow what is told to him, and he's going to do what's best in the best interest of his dollars.
Right, right. So it's to me it seems I'm not really I don't know them that much. I listen. I my being a fan of rap is as far as just hip hop, just whatever is popular. I don't know the hardcore stuff, right? So if I know a Jay Z, I can't go like any of the rappers right now. I don't know anybody. I literally don't know any. Like Kid Cudi, I don't know one single song of Kid Cudi, right?
Yeah.
And all the newest song of Kanye, I don't know any one of them. I may know the older ones when it first came out, right?
Yeah.
You know, so but I can see some of these things are so obvious to me, and I see the patterns everywhere. I see a Jay-Z, I see the way he moves, including even Beyonce. Like they don't just do interviews, man.
That's
They
right.
don't jump on everything.
That's right.
And we see a lot of young people, they act literally direct opposite of that. And I'm wondering, like, you think you're wiser than those people? You think you're smarter than them or something?
That's right.
So I just wondered that sometimes, and it's interesting. But I see the same patterns everywhere. I see the same patterns when it comes to any community you go to, the feminist, the manosphere, all this kind of stuff. I see the same human patterns. It's not everything. We don't have to jump on every bandwagon. We gotta relax and process things sometimes.
No, I agree with you. Honestly, you got to pick and choose your battles wisely. And I think in society today, a lot of times people don't pick and choose their battles. So it becomes an issue sometimes, and sometimes people become confused. They may be trying to pick a
It is
battle.
confusing.
Yeah, that's not their battle. They don't know who they should fight, who they should go against. Yeah.
Yeah, it can be confusing. I have to acknowledge that. I have to acknowledge that these things. I had to learn that. Like, you watch the manosphere space a lot?
Yeah, I do tune into certain things that go on over there.
Okay.
But
the manosphere taught me to be patient with men. I kind of always knew that men are just humans,
yeah.
but I wasn't exactly easy. Once I started seeing certain type of behavior, I was a little bit harsh. I was like,
Yeah.
nah, like I gotta keep my foot on this people's neck, right?
Yeah.
but then I've learned that also that I learned to be a little bit patient with them. I don't know, for whatever reasons, men are just in that space where they need to be heard. That used to be women. We need to make sure women feel heard and seen. But because we're the leaders of the society, I don't think we have that much time and grace to be able to. We don't have that luxury. We have to. There's nothing else outside of God. There's nothing else that's going to carry this and be responsible for this for us. So every time we try to do that, we're literally leaving the ball. We're dropping the ball. So I wasn't very so then I realized that I had to look at myself and preach the same to myself. If I want to be the leader, then I got to be empathetic a little bit. So I'm a little soft with that. So when I see a Kanye, the overreactions tells me everything he did in that marriage, he was controlling. All right.
The thing is, though, I think with that marriage, he wanted to be controlling, but he didn't
couldn't.
realize who he was trying to control.
There you go. There you go. There you go. It's like trying to control the modern woman, right?
And especially a woman of that stature. Let's be real. That's $1 billion family. There's a
Facts.
lot of other entities involved when it comes to dealing with that family. I do recall a point when Kanye West said that he owed about $13 million in taxes or somewhere around that ballpark.
Right.
And he ended up saying, oh, he's in debt.
Yeah.
And then Kim Kardashian
She came to his rescue.
and went to her accountants. And then they are finding like $70 million that was owed to him. And
Yep.
she ended up getting him back up.
Yeah.
So you got to realize, depending on the woman you're dealing with, there's levels to this. Listen, And that's just what it is. There's a lot of entities that are dealing with the Kardashians. And
It's a
I
lot.
think Kanye didn't realize that. And he wanted to like basically take her and take her to where he wanted to take her.
Right.
But it doesn't work that way when it comes to the Kardashians. He
Yeah.
see with Jay-Z, it was successful because with Beyonce, she was having issues with a lot of people. I think it was her father and also other people involved with her.
Right.
So basically, like she was owed money. I know at one point I had heard allegedly Al Heyman might have did some sour business with Beyonce and her father. So Jay-Z ended up pushing her father aside, and he ended up getting her with Live Nation.
Right.
And then that's where those big deals started coming and that huge record contract.
Right.
So he's been kind of looking over her career.
Right.
Where I guess Kanye might have tried to do the same, but it just
Right.
wasn't working with that woman.
Right. So that's a good example. That's a good way you just put it, because I actually have personal friends, right, that try to, maybe the wife is not really into the whole modern day everybody boss chick, get master's degree 3 times over. The wife is much more relaxed. And this man would try to get their wife to act like this other woman, right? It doesn't work. See, it could go either way, right? Or the woman that's trying to get 3 master's degree, you're trying to slow her down. That you have to learn how to navigate the feminine energy, just like the ocean. You don't swim against it. You will self-destruct.
I think so. I think what Kanye West needs is a submissive woman to him. Because let's be real, Kanye West
What does
can
that
take
look like?
a woman who basically, because when he first met Kim, he stated he taught her how to dress. He got rid of her wardrobe. He
Right.
changed her appearance, the way she looks. You see, even when she went to the gala, the Met Gala, she was wearing a mask and all this dark colors.
Right.
She
The
was trying to
craziness.
imitate Kanye.
Yeah, the wild out of the box thing, right?
Exactly. That's all Kanye West. But one thing is he forgets is that she has a lot of money and she has her own endorsement deals. She has
Exactly.
corporations financing her and telling her what to do. So if Kanye West can go get a girl from maybe, I don't know, South Africa or whatever, Nigeria or Morocco or France, and he
Right.
can transform her and put her in the spotlight, then he basically will be in a win-win situation for himself. Because whatever he says, whatever he does, she'll be behind him. Because she understands this is the guy who brought me to this level.
Right.
Where Kim K is just like, dude, honey, relax. Okay, all right, you're making me look crazy.
Right.
My friends are going to be laughing at me when I go to Utah or whatever, or California, back to Calabasas. So, all right, I can't be doing this anymore.
Yeah. I see that. It's just that I don't believe. You sound. I hear a little accent there. Where are you from?
I'm from Toronto.
From Toronto, but where your family from?
My parents are from Africa.
From
so
Africa.
they're from Ivory Coast, Ghana.
Ivory Coast,
Those
Ghana.
areas.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Good. So I was raised in Africa. I was born here, but I was raised in Africa.
Yeah.
And the type of women that we are fantasizing about, they're just women too. There's a guy called Ebenezer Obey. He's about 80 years old now. He sang a song called Suru Laughing Shaw Koberin. That means you. I'm looking for almost a direct translation, right? You become a woman's husband, a woman's man, a woman's what do you call it, crown, with patience. This is old, as traditional as it gets, like past before our generation. These are just the facts of the matter when it comes to dealing with women, right? And these things are energy. It's not necessarily like straight facts, duty, responsibility. You follow this straight line. That's not how it works. When you find yourself in this context of marriage, of being with a person, long-term relationship, right?
Yeah.
That woman is going to mimic this level of self-respect you have for yourself, right? The moment you lack self-respect, basically by questioning yourself, Like, for example, if I go to my woman and say, "Did you disrespect me?" I'm basically assuming that you disrespect me, right? Right? I've assumed that I'm accusing you that you disrespected me. She will have no choice, at least with time, than to disrespect me because it will be showing in my behavior that I lack that confidence, right? So women follow that confidence, right? I could see the difference in terms of in the Western world. Yes, it's a lot more crazier than yes, if you. But dude, we're hearing stories of people bringing girls from the village. They come here, they become a nurse, and they turn on them,
Valid
bro.
point. Listen, honestly, that's the Western world for you. Because what happens is with the Western world is it's like what it Felima, do without will. Like do what makes you feel happy. Whatever you want to do,
Right.
that's on you. Where it before prior, if you look at American culture in the 70s, the 50s, the 40s, 30s, the 20s, it was all about respect. It was about family.
Right.
It was about not humiliating yourself, and it was about honor and whatnot. That's
Right.
all thrown out the window.
There was a code. That was a code that
Exactly.
everyone followed. Right.
Everybody, it doesn't matter. You could be Black American, you could be Italian American,
Right.
Irish American, British American, whatever, Anglo French from Louisiana. It doesn't matter. But
Right.
now times are changing.
Yeah.
So that's just what it is. Kim
Definitely.
Kardashian,
Uh-huh.
she could respect him today, and he could be doing everything great for her. But then
Yeah.
tomorrow she could wake up and be like, "Hey, this guy's boring me," and then she packs her
Yeah.
stuff and goes.
So for me, the only solution would be if you marry a Kim Kardashian, it's one day at a time. It's the same rules for every marriage, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Right? You should know that tomorrow is not guaranteed. Enjoy that today as long as it lasts. That's it, right? If you're not 100% secured in yourself as a man, when you get with the woman of means, it's good. It's not gonna last, because why?
Right.
What is 100% secured in yourself? It doesn't exist. We all have insecurity at some level. We see one little slight thing and then we may show a little bit of a weak behavior. Maybe you're having a bad day or something, right? If you do that and she smells it and she kind of responds to that, and then that multiplies, and then she's like, "No, you're acting insecure." And every time she say you're acting insecure, you act insecure, right? It's going to just go down the drain from there, right? So I always tell people there's no such thing as 100% secure, but at least the awareness that if you get with a woman of means, maybe she's richer, maybe she's a go-getter or something like that, you got to be secured in being who you are. Anything short of that, okay? And I'm not saying, hey, you don't have to admit that you're insecure. That's not how it works. They just have to receive you as insecure. They have to see you. You don't get to sit down there and say, "I'm not insecure." The moment you did that, you just prove that you're insecure, right? You literally have to be settled in yourself, and that means be settled in today. And because insecurity also comes from being anxious about tomorrow. Like, what if she leaves me tomorrow? That right there is a sign of insecurity, right? What about the body count from the? You what about Ray J's sex tape, right? That, I mean, say less, right? So it's almost impossible for a Kanye to be not insecure in that marriage. It's impossible, and insecurity will destroy everything.
I agree. But it's tough, man. Like she's looked at as a sex symbol. She's like the modern day Marilyn Monroe.
Right.
So and it's just kind of like, you know.
Like an average man will still, let's not cap. An average man will still try to wife that up.
No, for sure. She's
That's
a woman of
crazy.
means, and she's a woman that immediately with here, you go to the subway in India, whatever, New Delhi, and you pull on the front page, and immediately you're gonna see Kim Kardashian dating this guy, new boyfriend. It doesn't matter. She's international. She's the top socialite of the world at this point.
That's what I mean when I say let's not put ourselves on the pedestal. We're all humans, right? So position yourself to win. Don't act like you're just gonna be this macho. I can turn this girl from the village to a queen, dude. If you find your queen, wife her up one day at a time. Be in your best. Your best is what she was attracted to. If that's no longer good enough for some reason, 3 years, 13 years, 23 years from now, then just cry a little bit about it and keep it moving, because life is just a passage anyway. It's really not that deep, right? But I feel like a lot of people, including them, celebrities, they're just humans too. It's just that there's this what do you call it? There's this light on them, right?
That's true.
But they're just humans at the end of the day. There's hundreds of six-figure incomes attached to their name, like literally people that must get paid
That's
for
right.
every time those names shows on those magazines, right? So it makes things worse for them, because it doesn't change the fact that they have mental health to protect. It actually makes it worse for them. So, but anyway, let's do this together. Way number 9. Upon my wife's request, please nobody do anything physical to Skete. I'm going to handle the situation myself. Right? This is what he said. He was pulling back his he was overreacting like 48 hours before that. And then people were warning him, like, you're going to get this guy hurt. He's going to get hurt. Because there are people that are mad like that, and they see what Kanye says, and they're going to actually do something. So he now went and tried to pull it back. Now, at our level, regular people, how does this work? We say something stupid, and then we're very quick to say, I'm sorry. and I'm sorry only builds resentments for the most part, because they're like, okay, you did that 2 weeks ago. You did that 3 weeks ago. It's watered down. The value of I'm sorry is watered down. What's your thoughts on that?
Honestly, I think he was in his emotions again, and he overreacted without thinking logically. So I think once he got into his senses and he realized, hey, I'm wrong, that's when he apologized.
Right. But he said at his wife's request.
At his wife's request.
Yeah, he was. It's like a mix of simping and a mix of being stupid and a mix of because I guess it's okay that it's your wife, but it's actually not your wife much longer at that time, because she was already dating this dude, obviously, right?
Yeah.
But what is the impact on this wife? The fact that she had to get on the phone and tell you to pull some of these messages. If when you post this, there are a lot of men that are delusional that would think, oh, since I've satisfied her now, it should be okay. No, actually, I don't know. There's just some damages you can't pull back. And it's usually from our mouth. This mouth is a very powerful thing. Women do it too. You say something stupid, and it's hard to take it back. Just because you were caught up in your feelings. So here, let's go to number 10. Last but not least here. Come off, not act. Come off as butthurt is the 10th way to lose your wife to Skete. Alright? Because somebody's going to say like, but that's not butthurt. No, dude, you don't have to agree that you're butthurt. She just has to, not her, but the whole world. Because actually, if she's the only one that sees you as butthurt, women will give a lot of grace. Mm-hmm. But when she notices that the rest of the world sees you as butthurt, it's the embarrassment for them. People don't realize that women actually could care less if you cheated or not. It's the embarrassment that the idea that the whole public sees that you cheated on me is the bigger deal in this. So a lot of men will sit down there and I like all of this we're doing is we're using logic, because we're not in the situation. So it's easier to use logic, right? Right. When you're the one in the situation, right? All sense of logic goes right out the window. Because you're caught up in your emotions too. You feel how you feel. You feel like somebody hurt you, You feel like somebody wasn't loyal, right? Like a typical man. Let's forget that she has sex tape and she has this past and stuff. A typical man in this kind of typical situation with 4 children would be like, how dare you? I subscribe. Because men, when they go to that altar, they mean it. Not like a woman doesn't mean it, but everything she says and she feels is for that moment. That's it. And I need every man to understand that. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's the nature of the beast. when we say feminine energy, not woman, but feminine energy, doesn't give a shit about your feelings. That's not what we like about it is what we resent about it. It's beautiful because it's like this painting, right? That's varieties of sorts, right? It feels calm because you're cerebral, you're looking at it, you're trying to figure out what it means, right? But that shit is chaotic if you look at the painting, right? So when you look at that analogy, you bring that into masculine and feminine energy. We have to see these things as the way they are. If it's chaotic, you need to listen a little bit more, right? Maybe you can find some sense in it. If you're patient, you listen a little bit longer, right? But the moment you get butt hurt, right? You get butt hurt or you come off as butt hurt. What is butt hurt? All of this reaction on social media, clearly. I mean, he's celebrating today. This is not the day to celebrate. He's celebrating today. I mean, my last video I did, I said this guy is a young man. He doesn't know. He fell in love with the older woman. He's stupid, whatever. That's gonna happen. He has time. He's a young man, right? Yeah. And plus, right now, a lot of young men are like, "Ooh, they'll be rooting for him, right? Because he got somebody's wife, right?" Yeah. But I can't. I did this today because I'm like, yo, Kanye, this is the day that the lesson here, self-control, and don't confuse that with pretending. Like, oh, so I should just act like it didn't affect me, dude. It's called self-control. You know that energy, you put it out there, you never know what kind of impact it's going to create.
Do you think the fact that he's come from a matriarchal family, like his mother raised him. His mother was an educator in Chicago, in China. So do you think him not coming from a patriarchal family and not knowing kind of how to be more witty and more logical when going about things is due to the fact that he was raised from a woman? Because you see a lot of feminine actions coming from a lot of his behavior.
Definitely, that's a factor. That's definitely a factor. If I was counseling him, that would be something I have to unpack. Because the way we train our children, I'm raising 4 children. It's not my words. My words are important. They hear from me, but they're less effective as to watching me be a man. They watch me be a man every day. They're watching my actions more so than what I say. As a matter of fact, they hate when I start talking because I'm preaching and this man is start to preach again, right? So I'm like, hey, do what you're supposed to do if you don't want me to preach to you for 1 hour, right? Right? Because but they're watching my actions, and it amazes me sometimes when I sit my boys down and I say, hey, what do you I'll point them at the TV. I'll show them, like if I was home right now, I just happen to be in a hotel room right now, I'm on the road. When I'm home right now, this kind of story, I'm like, listen to it, what do you think? And it amazes me how they're able to pick apart, right? My boys are 14 and 11. I got an older one that I'm also raising, 19, right? But the 14 and 11, when I ask like, what do you think? Like, yeah, he's definitely overreacting. This is not stuff that I've never really had to say too much. I may say 1 time, 2 times, 3 times, but they also watch me practice it in real life. Yeah. So he hasn't seen that. So even if the mother sits him down and says, this is how a man acts, there are men that will receive that kind of lesson from their mother and actually resent the mother. They will say like, oh, so my feelings don't matter. No, the fuck, it doesn't matter. In real life, it really doesn't. It matters. Go see a counselor, okay? Sit down, pay them $200 and let them talk you through the process of the thoughts you're having. But if you're not paying attention. You're just caught up in your emotions still. So I try to tell the ladies, because there's a lot of single women out here. I try to tell them, like, listen, kudos to you for raising your baby, for doing what you got to do. But be clear. This baby, this man that's going to be a man in our society, it's not seeing real life examples of what it looks like to be a man. Sometimes we just have to brush our shoulders and keep it moving. Why? People say, oh, that's not good, that's not fair to men. You can't use the word fair without using fair with respect to what? Fair as opposed to what? What do you mean? Are you going to go into another world where you're not a man? You want to be a woman? At the end of the day, in this society, we're responsible for everything. And if we're talking marriage, you are responsible for that marriage. I don't care what books of history, the Bible, when Adam didn't eat the fruit but ate the fruit, the man is held responsible. That's the way it works. When the man is held responsible, everything flows. You know, so yes, that's definitely a factor I would definitely look at. It's a big deal, the fact that he was raised by a very powerful woman too. She was a professor, something like that too, right?
Yeah, very educated, highly educated. It's weird because his father was around. His father was in Atlanta, and him and his father, he realized later on in life that his father was his best friend. And he later on came out and said it. Yeah.
You know, Kanye is a special. Kanye is a special one. I don't like judging. That's why I hate when people judge women too. Like, I don't like judging anybody, period. Because I don't think it's about. I don't think we are that capable of right and wrong. The way we try to paint that picture.
Yeah, no, makes sense. No, I agree with you.
I don't think we're that capable. We try our best, but sometimes we get caught up in our emotions, you know, and then everything, because you know the way we're trained for combat, right? They train you to respond with reflex, that you don't have to think. You know, your body will know what to do when it gets down to it. So if you're not trained that way for marriage, if you have to think when things happen, like if she start running, if she's called your mom a hoe, right? Oh, she did that and she's unruly like that. You're gonna have to tell me everything that led to that. People just don't fall out of the skies and call you, call your mother. You have to tell me everything. But nonetheless, man, you know, thank you so much for coming on, man. You're welcome to join me anytime, man. Anytime.
Yeah, most definitely. Can I plug my channel?
Yeah, please. By all means.
Definitely. My channel's L Selector on YouTube. I got 2 channels.
Okay, L Selector. I'm trying to say there's a switch to turn the name on here. I've never had to use it.
I'll send it to you on the private chat, the L Selector, and you can just put it in the conversation. I guess the chat.
Yeah. Let me see. I think. Okay, so it's still not showing. There's a way that. See, I've never had to use it. There's a way to show the name of the. That was the name you used earlier when you came on, right?
Yeah, L Selector. That's my name.
Selector. Okay, let me see.
On YouTube.
Okay, let me just put it on the screen. I'll put it on the screen as real quick.
Yeah.
L Selector, definitely, man. Yeah, please feel free to drop by, and then I'll check your channel out too.
Yeah, check my channel. I'll give it to you on the private chat.
Okay, cool.
L Selector. I got 2 channels.
Okay.
Sports and some finance stuff.
All right, good, man. Anything we can do for each other, man. Content creators.
Most definitely. You know, most definitely. Thank you again.
Yeah, this is a small platform too. I refuse to what you may call it. I refuse to abuse women here, so it's not gonna blow up as fast as it needs to. But we'll, I'm not in a rush.
For sure.
That real talk. Yeah. Yes, I post that one right there. Let me see. Let's see the other one. See, it's always as simple. I just put my banners up and I talk. And okay, so the second one is here. So the first one is about, what do you talk about on L Selector?
All right, so basically, L Selector, we just do sports. So I'm a big boxing fan. Also basketball. Okay. And then we also do some NFL football.
Okay.
And then the other one is basically we just talk money. And then I'm going to do some travel stuff. Nice. So I was actually in East Africa. So I'm going to put out some content on that.
What part of East Africa were you in?
I was in Kampala, Uganda.
Uganda. Yeah, the only place I've been to in Africa, this is so sad for me to say, because I need to get my shit up. Is basically where I grew up, Nigeria.
Nigeria, yeah,
I haven't
definitely,
even been to
definitely.
all part of Nigeria.
Yeah. Well, hey, when you get the time, swing by. I got a lot of good stuff I heard out there.
In Uganda, right?
No, in Nigeria, but in Uganda as well. Yeah, it's really
Oh no, I
good.
go to Nigeria. I go to Nigeria. I haven't gone in 6 years though, 7 years. But I go to
Yeah,
Nigeria.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
I used to
Uganda they
go a
got a lot
lot.
of stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
But
a lot
yeah,
of fun.
it's pretty good.
We need to educate the rest of the world. The world is getting westernized. It is what it is.
Yeah, yeah, for
So,
sure.
so the idea of let me just tell them what to do and do it is not enough. You need emotional intelligence and you need social skills. If you don't have those two, you'll fail. It's as simple as that. There's no need to beat around the bush or anything like that. Not just fail with women, you'll fail with your children. If you don't have emotional intelligence and social skills, you can't just spit at these children now. You have to kind of know what's going on in their brain, at least try to pick up a little bit, listen to them, and then you can guide them. That's the only way forward because they have choices. You're right, they can pick up the phone and call the government. You're right.
Solid point.
Yes, sir. Thanks for coming on, man. Thanks.
Thanks for having me.
All right, bro.
Enjoy, man.
Yes, sir. All right, awesome. That was good one. That was a lot of fun. Thank you, Selector, again for coming on, and I appreciate you. Yes. So today I think we talked about we really extracted the lessons here. The lesson is you need self control. Don't confuse self control with pretending. Sometimes things are gonna hurt, and they hurt so bad. The natural reflex action, knee jerk reaction is for you to overreact if you're human like the rest of us. But if you train yourself right now to learn how to react properly when things happen, your body will naturally, and with time, it gets easier. Okay? Women and everyone in your life will do things that will throw you off your base. It's just the reality of things. You, as a gentleman, should know that as just a fact of life. If your knee-jerk reaction is like, let me hold people accountable, first of all, you're probably going to do a terrible job of holding them accountable. You can't hold other people accountable until you hold yourself accountable. Hold yourself accountable first. What does that mean? Take account of what's going on, but especially at an emotional level. If you're not doing that, you're going to fail. You're going to overreact. It's because, again, you have this moral compass that clearly the other person is not subscribing to right now. And you're not taking the time to at least align them with the same morals, character, whatever standard you're basing things on. You're not patient enough to do that. And then you wonder why you're creating bad results. It is what it is. So I just want to say that to you really quickly. Hopefully you've been enlightened, educated, and I'll see you on the next one, and peace.